Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Parish in Concord on this beautiful June day. Thank you, Eric, for the lovely prelude. We have gathered this morning to celebrate the 99th anniversary of the Flower Communion. It'll be 100 years old next year, and y'all should do a great big deal about it next year as well. We have gathered here both in person and online to celebrate the Flower Communion. If you have arrived in person, be sure you have a flower. We have some extras out in the lobby, and Ellen would be happy to give you one. We are so grateful for the Flower Committee who has helped out with this service and actually does things all year long to make our church beautiful. It's just a joy to come into the church and to see fresh flowers every single week in very interesting arrangements. So thanks to Ellen Whitney and to all of the Flower Committee for that. If you are here in person and have any questions about accessibility, please see any staff member or one of the ushers. Children are always welcome here in the sanctuary, and we're glad to see you here this morning with your families for the Flower Communion. Most weeks we also have religious exploration, and that will be back next week. If you would like to color or anything and you're a kid, there's some packets in the back. Just ask an usher for one of those. If you're online, please feel free to participate fully in the chat and to sing along and speak along the different things that appear on slides for you. We want you to have the full worship experience at home as well. And we are still following some COVID precautions. We are masking while in the building, distancing as we wish, and we have opened the windows to increase ventilation. We are very thankful that ours is a highly vaccinated community. Welcome to church this morning. Our call to worship this morning are words from my colleague Elizabeth Tarbox. And so I say, ours is a story of faith and hope and love. I say it is our need for one another that binds us together, that brings us laughing and limping into relationships, and keeps us at it when we otherwise might despair at the fix we are in. I say it is the holy we need, the eternal beyond our comprehension, and one place that we can find it is here, working and worshiping together. And I say there is a transcendent value worthy of our loyalty, upon which we may set our hearts, and its divine manifestation is love. Let us worship together.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Amy Friedman, and today I light our chalice in celebration because last Sunday during our annual meeting, we passed the 8th principle. With this vote, First Parish in Concord is declaring our support for and commitment to racial justice. We are among more than 200 congregations who have adopted this principle, and I'll read it to you now. We covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community. By our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Let's join together in the chalice lighting response. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and fill our bodies and souls with persistent strength. Enliven our spirits and engage us deeply in this life of ours, this sacred, essential moment now. Our opening hymn this morning is number 38, Morning Has Broken. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. for the singing, grace for the morning, grace for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlight from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's will pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, even so plain. Praise every nation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Please be seated. I spent yesterday in the garden. Now, I don't have a very large garden. I live in Cambridge, right across from Harvard Law School, so I am very grateful for any bit of garden that I have. And sometimes not as grateful, as I was pulling up weeds that somehow were coming up through the cracks in the sidewalk and in between the bricks, and I couldn't help but think, where did these come from? I hope that today you have brought a flower with you, and I invite you to look at it now. I have one back here. You see, in my garden, there are plants that I do know where they came from. There's a hosta that just continues to multiply and multiply that I know was planted by my mother and originally came from my vava, my grandmother in New Bedford. I have lilies that have spread and grown along this one area. We kind of call it our herb garden, but really it's lilies and mint kind of peeking up in between. And those lilies are from Peter's mother, who we recently buried. And I can't wait for them to bloom. I really wished I could brought one of those lilies for you to see today, but they haven't bloomed yet. It wouldn't look too great. This flower comes from Star Market in Porter Square. But that's not the whole story, is it? I'm so happy that now people put on the labels where things come from, because this sunflower came from Colombia. And before that, I know what a sunflower seed looks like, because I eat sunflowers, and our birds in our garden eat sunflowers, and sometimes the squirrels and the turkeys and the rats come and eat the sunflowers. But this one, I wonder who planted it. Take a look at your flower. Think if you know who planted it. Imagine, use your imagination of who might have planted it. Did it come from a bush? Did it come from a tree? Did it come from a teeny tiny seed? We had a family service fairly recently about flowers, and Dawn handed out wildflower seeds, and they were tinier, almost the size of poppy seeds. We said, you can take this home and plant them. I don't know if they ever made it home. It is a miracle, this flower that you have in your hand, the journey that it came to, the fact that it needed the nourishment of the soil, the fact that it contributes to the refreshment of the air that we breathe, the fact that it needed to be watered, maybe in a farm, maybe by the rain, and that all the conditions came together to bring it here. And you, likewise, are a miracle. It's amazing that of all the ancestors, that two came together and you came about, and that you survived, and you came here to this community to be a part of this moment. And that's part of the reason why we celebrate this flower communion, to remember the beauty of our lives and that we are truly interdependent, and to remind us of our gratitude despite the struggles. And so now it's time for some grassroots organizing. So I want you to look and see who's in your pew and see if you could create a bunch or a bouquet together. And if there's a young person nearby, see if they'd be willing to be the person to process the flowers forward. That's part of this ritual, a procession of flowers. And we're going to bring them forward to these vases now.
I invite you now to join me in the Unison Consecration of the Flowers, which is number 724 in your gray hymnal. 724. Consecration of the Flowers. And we're going to do it in unison, okay? All right. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendships as the one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationships, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of us all are needed to do thy work in this world. Amen.
While you have your hymnals available, I would invite you to look at hymn number 61. The choir is going to sing an arrangement of this hymn, Lo, the Earth Awakes Again, by my colleague Ted Hine, who is down in West Hartford, Connecticut. Lo, the Earth Awakes Again. The words can be found as hymn number 61.
Thank you to the choir and to Eric and Beth for that wonderful rendition. As I said at the beginning of the service, it's the 99th year that we have been celebrating Flower Communion, and I want to read to you a brief history of the Flower Communion. This is the story of the Flower Communion from the Communion Book by Carl Seaburg. The first Flower Communion was celebrated in Prague on June 4th, 1923. The Great War had shattered Europe, but it had also given birth to new countries like Czechoslovakia, a different faith for some like the Unitarian Church, and new leaders, but like Dr. Norbert Čapek. Čapek had once been the head of all of the Baptist churches in Bohemia, and his new Unitarian movement included Baptists and many from the Catholic Church, too. Čapek wrote new hymns and devised new ceremonies to replace what people had left behind. His simple communion drew on the native beauty of the countryside to bind people more closely together. Carl Seaburg describes the Flower Communion this way. People were asked to bring a flower of their choice, either from their own gardens or from the field or roadside. Each person was asked to place their own flower in one large vase. This signified that by their own free will, they joined with the others. The vase that contained the flowers was a symbol of the united church. During the service, Dr. Čapek consecrated the flowers. Those are the exact words that we used this morning ourselves. And as people left the church, they went to the vase, and each person took a different flower than the one they had brought. As no two flowers are alike, no two people are alike. Together, the different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. Thus it is with our church community. It would not be the same without each and every one of us. The Flower Communion was brought to the United States in 1940 by Dr. Čapek's wife, Maja. It has spread since widely among Unitarian Universalists. At its height in 1940, the Prague Church was the largest Unitarian congregation in the world. But the Nazis occupied Czechoslovakia and started the Second World War. Finding Norbert Čapek's liberal faith dangerous, the Nazi regime worked to shut down the Unitarian Church. Čapek ignored their threats and held fast to the freedom of his church and his people. He was finally arrested and sent to the concentration camp at Dachau. The Nazis executed him there in 1942. Thus, the Flower Communion is a symbol not just of community, but also of the courage required to keep a free faith. As free people, we celebrate today both the simple beauty of this ceremony and the sacrifice. We join again as one.
Each week, I invite you to share the joys, sorrows, and milestones of your lives and the lives of those you love, so that we may hold one another in care, hold one another in our hearts and thoughts. And this week, we have both some highs and some lows. First, John, Sarah's husband, had a bad fall on Memorial Day weekend, and he was hospitalized for a few days, but thankfully he's doing better now and is back home. We send prayers for his continued healing. Peter N's father, Richard, died of a sudden illness on June 9th. It was also the 66th anniversary of his marriage to Joanne, who was by his side until the end. Our hearts are with Peter, Beth, Joanne, and their family as they grieve. Mimi Samor died at the age of 97 on May 30th. She was a lover of life and a practitioner of gratitude wherever she went. Our hearts are with Mimi's family as they grieve, and my hearts are with all of you who knew her. Suzanne F. and her family share their gratitude to our community for support after Debbie's death. And in happier news, we have a number of milestones today. In our congregational life, Reverend Jan Nielsen, who was a former intern here, has just been named Minister Emerita at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Little Rock, Arkansas. And she is preaching for the last Sunday there this morning as she retires. Reverend Gary Smith, our own Minister Emeritus, is celebrating the 50th anniversary of his ordination this month, and he will be recognized at our Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly and Ministry Days out in Portland, Oregon next week. Congratulations and blessings to Jan and to Gary. And finally today, we celebrate all of our graduates. If you're here, if you're online, maybe raise your hand or give a little shout out to yourself in the chat. Whether you are graduating from high school or college, from grad school, or have another significant transition going on. And if you are feeling shy and don't want to give yourself a shout out, that is just fine too. We are still glad for you and with you. Congratulations all around. Yeah. Who else is on your hearts and on your minds, whether in joy, sorrow, or a little bit of both? I invite you to call their names or type them into the chat, or both now. And let's join together in spirit of life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirs of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shade of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Friends, will you pray with me? Spirit of life and love, we offer our prayers for all among us today who are grieving or ill or in recovery. Where there is heartache, may there be solace. And we offer our prayers of celebration for all of the graduates and all of the ministers emeritus and emeriti in our midst and our wider community. May those celebrations be filled with joy. And we continue with the prayer that Reverend Dr. Chapek offered for this occasion 99 years ago today. In the name of Providence, which implants in the seed the future of the flower, and in our hearts the longing for people to live in harmony. In the name of the highest, in whom we move and who makes the parent, the sibling, the lover, and the loner what they are. In the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of the age of mutual respect. Let us renew our resolution sincerely to be real brothers and sisters and siblings, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from each other. In this holy resolve, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us. And may we endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Amen.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
This congregation is sustained by you, the congregation. First Parish is funded entirely by your generosity through your pledges and through our weekly offering. Today we will take an offering and share half of the plate with our Share the Plate recipient this month, which is Out Metro West. Having benefited from an organization similar to Out Metro West 25 solid years ago now, I can say they are doing good and worthy work, and that it is good and right for us to support their endeavors. The offering will be gratefully accepted and graciously received. You can give by cash, check, online, and text, so you've got all the options your heart could desire. Thank you for your generosity.
It is now time for all of us to enjoy the flower communion together. In a moment, you'll be invited to come up, and I invite you to take a look at this beautiful table and to find a flower that speaks to you, one that's different than the one that you brought, but no less beautiful. How this is going to work is that Liz will be working that aisle. We're going to avoid crowding. Liz will be working that aisle, and I'll be working this aisle. If Liz releases you, you go to the back of the church and come up the aisle here. So we'll just make a big circular clockwise movement here. So once you've chosen your flower, just continue on back down that aisle to your pew. So that means the folks over here, you'll have to go clear around. You'll see how it works. So please come forward. Beth is going to lead us in the garden song. Let us enjoy this flower communion together.
I invite you to join me on the chorus. I think many of you may have the words in a slip of paper. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. Pulling weeds, picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, for the time is close at hand. And grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. Tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them, come below, till the rain come tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will keep you strong if you give her love and care. An old crow watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All you need is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. They'll keep singing that chorus together till we all have our flowers. Here we go. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. Let's try it softly. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. Let's try it a little louder. Feel free to sing a harmony. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down. Let's try it a cappella. Here we go. Ready? One last time. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain come tumbling down.
Take a minute and look at the flower that you have. It's different than the one you brought in. Just notice how it's beautiful and unique and so different than the one you brought in. That is how we all are. We are all beautiful flowers, and each of us has amazing properties, a smell, a color, a spiky. I love allium because it's so spiky. Just be your spiky, smelly, lovely, pretty self. And that's all that we need. Thanks for joining us in this flower communion. Now we have the excitement of a raffle. Liza is going to draw the raffle prize. So way back in the pledge campaign, and Dawn, if you can help me here, just we'll hold this up. Way back in the pledge campaign, there was a 520 challenge. That meant if you raised your pledge by $520 or more, you got entered into a raffle for this beautiful quilt. Elaine Wallace made this quilt, and it's all farm scenes, and it's just really beautiful. It took her a year to make it, so it's really a lovely prize. And today, in this jar, we have this impartial young person who is going to close her eyes, and let's give it a good stir first. Just make sure we're, all mixed up here. I can't even see them. So, okay, Liza, this is your big moment. So, close your eyes, rummage around, and you're going to pick just one slip, just one. There we go. Can you read the name on it?
Yep. Rebecca Winborn and Gib Metcalf.
Oh, yay! Thank you very much. Rebecca and Gib, are you here? One of you here? Ah, they're at home today. So we'll get them the quilt, but how marvelous for them. So thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Liza. Finally gave away that quilt. As we begin to close our service today, I'd like to invite you outside. It's a beautiful day for coffee hour. Please join us out on the labyrinth and enjoy one another's company out there. The worship sharing circle is only going to be online today, so if you're online and want to join it, there'll be a link that shows up at the end of the service. Just follow that, and it'll happen online today. Outside there will be a welcome table that will be staffed by folks. There are standing committee folks who are out there. There's also a table where you can write cards for any of the pastoral milestones that we heard about during the service today. Your main source for all of the news of what's going on at the church is FP Weekly. Please look at it each Friday. Sometimes you have to open it in your browser to get the full details, so don't be shy in doing that. That's your best source. It also has a new email address for submissions, so you can put in submissions for it at fpweekly@firstparish.org. This afternoon, there is a 2 o'clock p.m. Boston's Black Heritage Walking Trail Tour. Leslie Fisher is the leader of that. So, Leslie, are you here this morning? There may be other folks who... Oh, it's not happening. Okay, we'll do it another time. And then next Saturday, down in the Herb Garden, there is actually a farewell party for me from noon until 2:30 p.m. Free tacos. That alone should get you here. Free tacos. Let us sing together again. We're going to stand and sing hymn number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. Number 21, please rise and sing out.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of here and nigh, for the heart of mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister of her parent child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Source of all, we are grateful for the many gifts that surround and sustain us. Thank you for this gathered community, both in person and online, and for the many ways we enrich one another. Thank you for our ancestors, both familial and spiritual, who make our lives and this religious community possible. As our service comes to a close, may we carry our blessings out into the world, saying together our benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Blessed be.